Okay. Moving on, I wanted to briefly talk about the budgets. As stated previously, we really want a CPA to do the pro forma budget to make sure that the variable dues are calculated appropriately, that all the proper disclosures are included. These documents do become part of the official record of the association, are used in escrows, and errors and omissions can only bring heartache and pain to Collins management and the associations. Now, having said that, some have kind of allowed their boards to talk them out of going this route. And as previously reported, we for those few and far between associations that just insist on us doing it, we charge $500. So I'm hoping that's going to be a disincentive for an association to use us, because Levy is just a couple $100 more, and they're going to provide a better product. However, there's two conditions that must be met in order for us to do them internally. One is that the funding study must be updated. So that means the reserve study must be updated. And that means that the California disclosure notes are accurate for the following year. If it hasn't been updated, and then the only other alternative is to have a Levy do it. We are not going to do that. Okay, we're just not. Two, variable dues. We're not going to calculate variable dues. The reason being is that if we make a mistake, and that mistake is allowed to linger for multiple years, at some point someone's going to figure it out, and they're going to be looking to us to reimburse all the homeowners that were overpaid, many of whom would have moved out by now. Many homeowners will have underpaid. Lots of luck getting them to cut a check. So it just creates a lot of problems for us. I know there's an exceedingly small number of associations that the board is doing it internally. I recommend against that for the same reasons, because the liability that we're trying to avoid as an organization, they should be trying to avoid as a board. And so it's recommended that, especially if you have variable dues, that you have an outside third-party CPA do those calculations, so that any errors or omissions go on their E&O insurance and not on us.
Hey, Paul, this is Brad.
Hey, Brad.
Do you have a template or talking points or a letter or something that we can use to have this discussion with the boards?
Well, Melanie and I are going to work on the template for the internal produced document. So we will have that. Is that what you mean? Like, what is the template for what, if we do it in-house, what is it going to look like?
No, I meant reviewing with the boards, just like the three options you gave. We have three options. One, have your CPA draft the budgets. Number two, if the reserve study is updated, we can do it, but we're going to charge you $500. Or number three, it's not even an option if you have variable dues. Or number three, if the boards are doing it, we recommend against it. This is our official letting you know we're against it, but go nuts.
Brad?
Yeah, Melanie is going to work all of this into the budget procedure.
And Brad, I just went through this process and it was very painful. I'm happy to share all of that experience with you and how it went. I did come out on the other side a bit bruised and battered, but I'd be happy to go through that with you. And to that point, I wanted to ask you, Paul, if you do run into a situation that goes outside everything you just said and the board moves forward, I just wanted to ask if there's any kind of liability disclaimer or anything that you'd like us to use with those boards in those circumstances.
Well, yeah, if they want to put together the annual policy statement, I would say that they should have something in their minutes stating, for this reason, and this reason, the board has decided to do the budget disclosure package in-house, and I would also say what the recommendations from management were. Management recommended that, this happened. The board made, for the following reasons, made this decision. And I think as long as it's in the minutes, we can be comfortable, because what will happen is 3 years from now, when you have a whole new board, irrespective of what was decided 3 years prior, they're going to blame us. So if it's in the minutes, we can say, no, look, and guys, if you present a budget and the board decides against it, and with the budget that you presented has an adequate amount contributed to reserves and an adequate amount for operations, and they whittle that down to something else, make sure it's in your minutes that what your recommendation was.
Yeah.
Because at some point the association is going to be underfunded, they're not going to meet their obligations, and we are going to be blamed. So by having it in the minutes, we inoculate ourselves from taking that blame, that unfair blame, which all too often happens. It falls on the management company. All right, 11:30 on the dot. We got 1 minute left. Any last minute questions, concerns, comments? All right, rest in peace, Mary Lane. We'll miss you, and it's good to see you all. Welcome once again, Lay, and I'll see y'all around the office or next week. All right.
Oh, Paul?
Yeah.